Hello folks, it's time for some more hobby nightmares. It is Wednesday, you are halfway through the week, so congratulations to you. If you like what I do, the subscribe button is down below, the Patreon button is also down below, and also, if you're buying any sort of models this week, make sure you go to Composite Games, give them some love. The promo code Northern Exile down below gets you 5% off at checkout for any of the big 10th edition orders you're planning to make. Also, my own store is down below. If you want to get a t-shirt, hat, mug, whatever, I've got a mug. It's great. I'm going to be doing a little bit of modelling with the t-shirt as well. Hopefully, soon. We'll see. Right. Moving on to Hobby Nightmares. Don't have a lot of time today because I've been, teaching, and we've got some marking to do this evening, and also got to make dinner and all that. But first of all, chill out with a nice cup of coffee and some Hobby Nightmares. Moronic says, "Hi Northern, you can call me Moronic for the purposes of this story." Okay. First half of my gamer tag, my friends love it. Alright. Nice to find another fan of the word of Lorgar. Yeah, Lorgar is one of my favourite Primarchs. I always find the ones that aren't as bolshy and one-dimensional to be more interesting. I don't know. This is the story of my first ever tournament experience that happened over the Halloween weekend. It was meant to be a friendly doubles tournament capped at 1,000 points per player. I quickly found out that a lot of tournament players don't know the meaning of friendly/fun lists. I felt a little guilty bringing a Vindicator with a Siege Shield until I saw some of what we were up against in this friendly tournament, quote unquote. It wound up being the most valuable player throughout the day, with it even taking out a Keeper of Secrets in 2 rounds of shooting with some good dice rolls. Also figured out people are allergic to engaging a 10-man squad of Possessed. But, into the pain in the butt, that put a wrinkle in my day. First match of the day, my buddy and I are paired with a Demons/Renegade Knights team. The Knights player is the subject of this story. This player is a regular in the shop. Unfortunately, he's one of those loud bragging, my army is best army types. Anyway, we get absolutely waffle stomped that game and then go to lunch. Whilst eating lunch, he approaches my buddy and and informed me that I got my rules wrong on my obliterator I was using. I did not know that I could only shoot with 1 weapon profile instead of all 3. That's fine, he informed me, and yes, I should know my unit rules, but it was also the first time I'd ever used an obliterator in-game. He wasn't upset or condescending about it, and we all prepared for our next game/pairing. That's fair enough. Well, so far so good. I mean, he's been very respectful about his feedback. He's told you what was going on or what was wrong. Fair enough. I'd actually say so far, you're the guy in the wrong, because you don't... If you're doing an army or a unit for the first time, for God's sake, even if it's a friendly tournament, don't use it for the first time at a tournament. That's a bad juju coming your way. But hopefully things worked out. Out of a room of 42 players, he could be heard over everybody in the game room. We then got our third and last pairings, and found out my team had no one to play due to an odd number of teams, which was fine by us. It gave us an auto, and our only, win that day, and a much needed break, as both of us were worn out by the time, so we took a seat at an empty table and just watched one of our other buddies play his last game, which is coincidentally against said Knight and Demon team. I then overhear the Knight player proudly exclaim that he had beaten a cheater earlier in the day. I somehow knew he was referring to me, and my honest and only mistake that day, which upset me a lot, but I didn't bother to confront him about it. He almost got his just desserts in his last game when he was damn near tabled by our buddy, who was also the tournament organiser. He then got angry and punched the table, but I wasn't in earshot to hear what our buddy has said to him about it. He felt sorry for almost tabling him in the one and took pity on him by allowing his last night to live, which was a mistake as it allowed him to go on and win the game. He then proceeded to strut around like a peacock to anyone who would listen before the raffle drawing for the prizes. He did actually eventually apologise to our buddy after the game for losing his cool, but I've made a mental note not to play him if at all possible. Yeah, don't trust people when they apologise after getting their own way. That's one thing that, you know, you need to be aware of in the hobby as well. There are people out there who will lose their shit, who will throw their pacifier, their dummy out the pram, who will throw their toys all around and really shout to the heavens that everything is going against them and you're all against me and I hate you all and this is awful and oh my woe is me. And then when they get their own way, they'll apologise. You know? When they get their own way, when you acquiesce to their behaviours, they apologise. The only way to tackle this kind of behaviour is to confront it head on, say that it's not appropriate, right? And don't have mercy. If you have it within your power to absolutely bum rush this guy on the tabletop and table him, you humble him, you take him down, right? You take him down, because the minute you acquiesce to people like this, they take and take and take and take and take and take. The minute you acquiesce, the minute you say, oh, woe is you, okay, I won't do it, you know. What did he do straight after he got his own way? He strutted around. He strutted around and rubbed it in, because that's the kind of people these guys are. They're little fucking rats, okay? So don't let them off. Beat them. Beat them, humble them, and then say, right, your behaviour isn't appropriate. This is the appropriate behaviour. You know, dude, you need to, like, you know, chill, sort of a thing. Anyway, overall, the experience was pretty fun, besides his antics, and at the end of the day, I walked away with an Age of Sigmar Dominion box, my god, which I split with my teammate, and finally taking him into Age of Sigmar, which I've been playing for a while, but hadn't managed to pull him into up until now. Anyway, thanks for reading through my ramble, and if you're interested, I have much shorter stories of 4 of my individual word bearers models and their feat shenanigans in a game, if you'd like. Yeah, go on, man, send it to me. That sucks that you have to go through that, but at the same time, I like it that I had a happy ending, and a Dominion box is no slouch of a prize. If I'm correct, the Age of Sigmar Dominion is the one with the absolutely gorgeous Stormcast Eternal models, isn't it? Yes, it is. £106 it's worth. Oh my god. Well, not worth, but you know what I mean. That is a good starter box, I will say. That is a good starter box. I like that. That's awesome. Anyway, moving onwards. Moving onwards and upwards. Sean says, hi Northern, this hobby nightmare came from a nationwide but invite-only wargaming club called the War Hamsters. Okay. The club was built of a network of friends and associates and ran 2 fiercely contested tournaments each year. One for 40k and one for Warhammer Fantasy Battles. This was during 8th edition. Well, everything's during 8th edition now, isn't it? Because it ended after that, till the new one comes out. I was a pretty competitive Warhammer Fantasy Battle player, and the environment the War Hamsters encouraged was pretty sharky. That year, the WFB tournament, Warhammer Fantasy Battle Tournament, attracted 30 players, so not so tiny. It was a grueling 9 games of 2,000 points fantasy over 3 days. 1 on the Friday night, and 5 on the Saturday, and 3 on the Sunday. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's my idea of hell. I love the hobby. People, don't get me wrong, right? I love the hobby. I just can't do it all day, multiple days at a time. I can't. I literally can't. It boiled down to game 9. 4 people could win all of the tournament. Could all win the tournament, myself included. Okay, cool. Taking a little sip of coffee there. Myself included, with my witch elf based dark elf list. I had already defeated my main rival on the other top table, so in the event of total victory, I would take the crown, so to speak. My opponent for this game was a Skaven player I had known for many years. To put this guy in perspective, his nickname was Scoops, because when he played Magic, he had a tendency to quit and scoop all of his cards up if he went even slightly on the back foot. Before the game, Scoops took me by to one side and said, "Look, mate, we both do well. What, dude? Please proofread before you send me stuff. Look, mate, We both did well, and we're both on the podium. I don't care about winning, and after 8 games, I'm knackered, so let's just play casual. I agreed. After all, it was meant to be a tournament between friends. Okay, fair enough. I have a funny feeling that's not going to go the way that you think it's going to go. But anyway. A few players couldn't be asked to play their last game and agreed on a draw to spectate the top 2 table. That's fair enough, you know what I mean? That's fair enough. If you got no chance of winning, there's no point in playing, really. That sounds really cynical, but after 3 days and 9 games, when you're on game 9 of 9 and you can't win, yeah, I just call it a draw, shake hands, you know. Fair enough. So, I got the first turn. I move, and then magic. I move, then magic, then shoot. I say, that's the end of shooting. Oh, hang on, I forgot to shoot these 10 crossbowmen. 1 second. I get interrupted by Scoops, who tells me, no, you declared your shooting phase over, you can't fire them. Yeah, fuck this dude. Fuck this dude. I don't care if any of you in the comments like, well, technically, and pushing your glasses up your nose. No, that he hasn't declared over, right? You haven't declared over until you've moved on and used something else, right? If you use something else in your army, say if you shoot and then you charge a unit, then that phase is over, right? The shooting phase is not over until you do the next phase, until you start the next phase. If you simply say, well, that's the shooting phase done. Oh no, wait, I've got this thing here I can shoot, right? That's not the end of the shooting phase. Fuck this guy. I really, really, really hope he gets his comeuppance. This is annoying. I laughed, thinking he was joking. He tells me, no, the rules are quite clear. So I'm going to say it in his actual voice. No, the rules are quite clear. I'm pissed off at this point, but rather than going on tilt, I reminded him of his pre-game chat about a casual game. Good lad. I also tell him, in front of about 6 people watching, if you want to play like that, I will also play like that. Live by the sword and die by the sword. Your choice, mate. I either fire those 10 crossbows, or it's absolute playing like a twat for the rest of the game for you. He smugly states, no, the game has rules, so I don't think it's unreasonable to follow them. I look to the crowd and say, just to make it clear, all of you have witnessed this, correct? Agreeing nods all around. Dude, end this guy. End this guy, please. So my turn ends. His turn. Now, his army was a Skaven slave horde army. 300 slaves to lock me down whilst he scored objectives. So, a pretty hard list for my elite troops army to beat, even with my broken Matt Ward army book. He just had to charge me and lock me down, and I'm using blocks of witch elves that can't flee as a charge reaction. He declares his first charge, makes the roll within range and moves his unit. He declares his next charge. I politely inform him that he has ended his declared charges step when he moved the first unit. Brilliant. He tells me to fuck off. I read the rule book that was handed to me by a spectator on the correct page, that all charges are declared before moves are made, and that no, the game has rules, so I don't think it's unreasonable to follow them, to be honest. He is literally trembling with anger. I can see this and offer him, let me roll my shooting from that unit in the previous round, and you can continue declaring charges. Let's be fair. Fair enough. He lobs his army book down and storms off. After 10 minutes, the head ref comes back to the table and tells me he has forfeited, and subsequently I get a total victory, giving me the first place trophy, which pissed off the players on table 2, who were fighting for the first place also. Neither of them got to max their victory points, so luckily there was no problem. But I have often thought about how I would have felt in this scenario if that had happened. Yeah, that's bullshit. Because you got like a totally easy win when they are still fighting to try and take you over. That's bullshit, man. After years, I've come to the conclusion that Scoops was a big baby, but it was a shame his poisonous attitude affected an exciting end to the tournament. Yeah, man. If that's my tournament and we're having such a good time, and somebody does shit like that, and yeah, they're not playing again. They're not playing again. That is, you know, don't bring big guns to the table and then, you know, whine when you get shot. That's, you know. Anyway. Local game ickiness, I guess. my next story. Okay, you've got two. Brilliant. I hope the next one's just as good. Just getting back into the hobby after a 4-year hiatus. My wife, who was a rather attractive lady. Well, mate, I'd worry for you if you said she wasn't. You know what I mean? If you said my wife, who is a bit of a creature, you know, and then you move on. Like, no, of course she's attractive. She's married to you. Just getting back into the hobby after a 4-year hiatus. My wife, who is a rather attractive lady and well-presented doctor, has decided to start painting as a relaxing hobby. I tell her we will go into the Games Workshop Liverpool, as the manager Dan is an old friend, and we did, and it was a lovely experience. Very different from when I was a staffer anyway. Nobody tried to sell me a Dark Vengeance or equivalent, and we were given the space to look and contemplate models. Now, this may be that the manager told the staff not to push KPIs on me, or it could be that KPIs are done differently now, especially as we dropped £250 worth of paint and tools alone. Dude, you made his day. Now, I particularly enjoy doing nice bases for miniatures, so we popped up to Just Play in Liverpool to buy tufts and blossoms, etc. The store has a great range of stuff, and the guys and gals that work in there are cool guys. The place was clean and well laid out, and we got a nice greeting as we walked in. The problem, as you open the door, there was a table of 5 rather husky gentlemen playing 40k. Now, I'm reasonably dressed, gothy kind of chap, but my wife, being a stylish lady and a doctor, is dressed very well and like a professional. No insult to our hobby, but not the normal customer. Yeah, it's fair enough, yeah, okay. All 5 of the neckbeards crane their necks like a pack of fucking meerkats. They go silent and just stare at her. We walk around the modelling section, and one of them actually walks around the racks just to gawp at her, like she was an alien species or something. Jesus Christ. She asks them if she can help them, and they scurry back to their game. My wife asked if we could leave, and we make our purchase and get out quite quickly. Honestly, some of the boys in our hobby are bordering on dangerous. Yeah, man, I mean, I'm sorry that happened to you. And by the way, the tournament will be in Liverpool. So, you know, in the summer, we're going to be doing a 10th edition Combat Patrol tournament in the summer with the release of 10th edition. So yeah, come along, because there will be prizes. I'm reliably informed. There will be prizes. I probably won't be playing in it, but I will be playing people as they get beaten off the tables. So if you lose a game, I'll play you. You know, I'll have my Astral Blades there, and I'll play people who lose off the tables. Anyway, John says, okay, a bit of a serious one. So if you're not up for more serious, you know, hobby nightmares, then please take a step back from the video right now. John says, "Hey North, for the longest time, I've been suffering from depression, stemming from bullying by my peers, being institutionalized by the school system back home, as in falsely diagnosed with autism, oh my god, and a lot of other traumatic events. An event I would like to discuss and maybe gain some perspective on from a third party, and you can tell me if my view is correct or not. I was getting into D&D 5th edition in 2017, and got into a nice group of guys that welcomed me with open arms. The DM, we'll call him Frank. Frank was a very built and long-haired bearded guy, think Triple H, but a bit paler." That's hilarious. And I'm imagining Triple H like in his suit, like doing a D&D game. Like, that's just adorable. "Frank was a great DM and an all-round nice guy, but looking back, it seems I made the wrong impression when we first met during an Adventurers Guild event at a store by ordering McDonald's. Obviously, I wasn't eating right at the time. Frank suggested that I should eat more at home and not at the table. After our first session went very well, and Frank invited me to his personal campaign group. Oh, is this going to be a good one? Is Frank going to take you under his wing? Are we going to see a training montage? Come on. After a few sessions, I was even invited by another player to their campaign as well. Overall, my time spent with them was great, but one night, I got a message from my girlfriend at the time. She was breaking up with me over text. Oh, that's the worst, dude. That's the worst. That's the worst. I mean, it doesn't really bother me. Like I've had it multiple times. I've sent that text to people that, you know, you go on one date with, or you have them round at your house once, and, you know, you're not ready, or it's not working out or something, and you send them a text saying, yeah, it's not working out, blah, blah, blah. I've been the recipient of that text, and I've given that text. That doesn't really bother me as much as, like, if you're in a relationship with somebody, and it's been going on for, like, years, or at least, if you're past, like, 3 months of seeing each other constantly, and then you break, that's past the point of text breakup, do you know what I mean, for me? You're then beyond decency. You shouldn't be breaking up with people via text if you've been seeing them, you know, 3 or 4 times a week for a couple of months. That's not the right thing to do, you know? Anyway, she was breaking up with me over text. Low blow. Straight away. Grow a pair. Talk to him. It was sudden and in the middle of a session. Frank was encouraging me to just keep going with the session, but I couldn't be in the room at the time. Quickly and quietly, I packed up my stuff except for my Mini. After that night, I tried to talk her out of it. Mate, don't. This is a point of advice, okay? Do you know what? I'm going to carry on because this doesn't go on for much longer, and then I'll give you advice at the end. After that night, I tried to talk her out of it, but it didn't work. She left me, and what makes it worse, Frank said that I was no longer welcome at the campaign because I disrupted the session. Well, that's a bit douchebaggy. It was going to be a 4 hours one, and we weren't even half an hour in. And he kept my Mini, saying that he had plans for my character. What a fucking douchebag. I take back what I said. What a douche. It's been a few years since this blowout, but I just feel guilty that I ruined their mood, and it felt a bit weird feeling that I'm problematic for any D&D group with my sensitivity letting that breakup get to me at the time. I don't know if he was justified or not, so many times I've just felt like a burden in any relationship, let alone a group like that. I have gotten better at handling my shit, and have even regularly been visiting a therapist weekly for the past year, filtering and figuring my situation out. But I still hold those thoughts in myself that I am a nightmare to have around. Any advice would be welcome. Well, here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. That Frank dude is a fucking douche. Don't listen to a single word that guy has to say. The only thing, he seems to me like a bit of a know-it-all dad type. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, good advice, like saying, yeah, don't eat at the table, because, you know, you're encouraging bad habits doing that. That's fine. Inviting you to a game, that's fine. If you told him, it sounds like, yeah, you did tell him. It says here. So yeah, you told him why you were feeling really shitty half an hour into a game and you need to leave. That is what it is, dude. Get on with it. Get on with it. Either carry on your game, or stop the game, say we'll come back to this at another time. You know, Frank's had some really, John's had some really bad news. We'll come back to this another time. That's bro behaviour. What he did there was douchebag behaviour. I'm not giving you your Mini back. Fuck that twat. Do not take any advice on what kind of a person you need to be from a guy who steals your model because you wouldn't play make-believe games with him. Okay? Number 1. Get that out of the way, okay? Right. There's the Frank situation sorted out. Don't take advice. Don't define your personage on who that guy thinks you are. He's not worth it, right? Number 1. Number 2, I've been through breakups like this, okay, where I've been with a girl for several months, and I've really liked her, and she's broken up with me over text. I've been distraught for days. I've not wanted to see anybody, do anything, do whatever. No, never wanted to do it, you know? Never, ever wanted to do it. Do anything. Let alone sit there and pretend to be somebody else. And a D&D takes a lot of energy, you know, mentally also. Some people can use it as a distraction mechanism. Some people can't. I can't. I use it to. I don't want it to. I don't want D&D and Warhammer to be poisoned by bad experiences. So I use them when I'm in a good mood, right? I mean, oh come on, dude. You got to give yourself a break. You have to give yourself a serious break here. This has got nothing to do with you. This has everything to do with Frank and him being a little bitch because somebody had the gall to have real life impose on his little make-believe sessions. He probably goes home and fucks his fairy plushie, let's be honest. I'm just imagining Triple H dry humping a fairy plushie. It's probably what he's doing. Like, that guy, no, fuck that guy, dude. Get him out. Don't think about him. Don't think about anything that he said or anything like that. To kick somebody out of a D&D campaign as well for disrupting your session, go fuck yourself, you pompous. Get in the sea. Fuck him off. Put him in the bin. Put him in the bin. Weigh the bin down and roll the bin into the sea. Roll it down there. Off he goes, right? What a prick. Do not define yourself on what this guy says you are, because this guy clearly has some fucking issues, okay? Move on. Move on. It sounds to me like you don't need my advice. You know why? You're in therapy, dude. You're in therapy. You're already working on yourself. You are brave enough and strong enough, and you're doing it already. You're already crushing it, dude. You're already crushing the shit out of it. You're working on yourself. You're building yourself up. You're putting the foundations into becoming self-actualized hobbyist John. You're nearly there. Keep going where you're going. That's the advice I have for you. Keep being true to yourself and going where you're going. Right? Don't lie to yourself. You seem like you've mastered that. You know where your fault lines are. You know where your issues are, or at least where to start looking at your issues. And you're doing it. The one thing I will tell you, there comes a time when you need to give yourself a break. Don't be a pussy, right? Don't pussy out of things, because you'll end up like a guy from our other story there. What was his name? The Skaven dude, right? You'll end up like the Skaven dude, where you don't take responsibility for anything. Always take responsibility for who you are and your own actions, right? Okay? Which you have done. But once you've taken responsibility and said, look, I'm sorry for ruining your campaign, quote unquote, move on. Know when your responsibility stops. That's the one thing people with depression never do. They never seem able, and me too, I'm talking about experience, they never seem able to know when the self-flagellation needs to stop. Do you know what I mean? Take responsibility for things that are actually your fault. That are actually your bad. Okay? I would say, yeah, apologise for leaving the session early. Fair enough. But aside from that, you have no obligation to this twat. Fuck him. Right? Okay? You've got depression now. So what you've done is, when he's done that to you, when he's said all that stuff to you, he's taken advantage of your depression. He's basically played on the fact that you now are self-flagellating, going, wow, I'm such a bad person. I'm such a bad person. No, you're not. You're not. You should know when to take guilt and when to stop. Right? And you should have stopped ages ago. Your guilt should have stopped that. Oh, I kind of ruined that one session. But even then, I kind of had a good excuse. But never mind. I'll buy the guy a beer. You know, no problem. That's a one beer. What you did there was a one beer solution. You go up to him and say, hey man, sorry about that, I'll buy you a beer. You know? That's one beer that would solve that problem. What a fucking child that Frank is. Get him in the sea. Right? What a twat. Pass that along to him as well. If you're still speaking to him, show him this video. Frank, you're a twat, mate. Alright? Grow up. Number 2, stop taking guilt for things that aren't your fault, dude. Know where your fault lies and know when to cut it off and say, that's it. I'm not taking any more from here. And it looks like you're starting to do that. You're in therapy, and that will work that out. You will work that out in therapy if you've got a good therapist, trust me. You'll work out how to stop self-flagellating and crucifying yourself over things that aren't your fault. And what I always hear from people I talk to who have depression is they say, look, I'm scared of doing that, because what happens if I just stop taking responsibility? What happens if I just use that as a crutch? Well, don't. Well, don't. You're already here. You're already a good person. You're already trying to figure out how to be a better person. People who do that kind of thing don't take advantage. They don't sidestep responsibility. What you need to do is take enough responsibility and move on. And move on. Alright? Frank was the one in the wrong here. He blew it up all out of proportion. And that's not your fault. Fuck that guy and move on. Lastly, don't ever try and talk a woman out of breaking up with you. Don't ever do it. You say, okay, bye. Alright, bye. Cool. I'm good. Bye. It'll kill you to do it. Especially if you've been with her for years. It'll kill you to do it. But trust me, in the long run, say, yeah, I'm cool. Bye. No, okay. You're not going to be here anymore. Cool, bye. I've got enough going on in life. I don't need you. Okay, bye. Right? Because not only are you savouring and keeping your self-respect, you're keeping your power in the relationship. I know that sounds like a bit toxic, but you know what I mean. You're keeping you've not given up yourself to this person. You're taking back your self-respect, your self-esteem. Saying, no. Fine, you want to leave? Go. Good. Bye. Next. I will go find someone who's worth me. It's clearly not you. It's clearly not you. You're clearly not worth me because you couldn't stick around. You couldn't hack it. Unless you're a toxic individual and needs to go to therapy, I understand. But in this situation, where she's broken up with you, seemingly for no reason, seemingly because she's changeable, and there's no reason there given, fine. Go. See ya. I'll find somebody who isn't a changeable bitch. Alright? See you later. Alright? I will find somebody who is worth my time, who I can build a life with, who I can love and respect, and clearly, with you doing this, that ain't you. So hit the bricks. See you later, right? That ain't you. Move on. Move on, right? It's going to kill you to do it. But I'm telling you now, if any of you gents here ever get broken up with over text or whatever, let her go. Bye. See ya. Out you go. Out the door. Out the door. Now, women who've done this with me, and I've been broken up with over text and all sorts. I've had relationships where we're just starting out and we've been seeing each other for a few weeks, or I've had ones where we've been seeing each other for like a year, and you get a text or you get a phone call or whatever, right? Say fine, thank you, and leave, right? Because I'm telling you now, out of like say 5 times when that happens, 3 or 4 of them will end up a year or 2 later coming back and saying, hey, do you want to grab a coffee? Why? Because I kept my self-esteem. I told her where to fucking go. I said, no, alright, fine. Some of those girls I've really liked and I could have fought for, but I don't. Why? Because you've proven you're not worth my time. Because you don't have the wherewithal to stick within this relationship and give it an honest try. So fuck off. See you later. I'm worth time. I'm worth dedication. I'm worth all of that shit. And if you don't want to give that to me, I'll find somebody who will. And I did find somebody who will, right? So you will find somebody who will. Trust me. Trust me. Stick to it, right? And I'm telling you now, 8 times out of 10, a woman who you say, go away to, will come back eventually. Especially if they're breaking up with you for spurious reasons. And you know, the ones who don't, here's the kicker. The ones who don't will respect the shit out of you. Right? The women who break up with you and don't come back because they broke up with you for an honest reason, but like you had the wherewithal to be like, okay, bye, and you leave, they'll still respect the shit out of you. And you'll still be able to hold your head up high when you see them in public and say, hey, how's it going? You know? You are giving yourself a much stronger foundation if you just tell her to fuck off. Not in a nasty way, unless she's being nasty. Just saying, oh, okay, bye. Right, bye. No, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Right, you said you don't want to be with me anymore. See ya. I'll go find somebody who does. Replaceable. Bye. Okay? Obviously, when you've been married for years, changes. When you've been in a relationship for years, changes, right? But we're talking in that first year or 2 of a new relationship. Yeah? Just say, yeah, bye. Okay, cool. Off I go. Anyway, that is the Hobby Nightmares for Wednesday. I love you all a long time. I will speak to you probably on Friday. I might be on tomorrow, but I doubt it because I've got other plans, got things that I've got to do. I've got a parents' evening, and then I'm going to a friend's house for some lasagna, which should be nice. But if I am on tomorrow, it'll probably be either a lore video or a stream. We'll see. And then we'll be doing another Hobby Nightmares on a Friday, because now I have a nice little backlog to go through. If you send me any Hobby Nightmares now, they'll either be read on Friday, if you're first in the queue, or they will be read on Monday or Wednesday next week. Love you all long time. Speak to you later. Have a good one. Bye.